Hello to all my viewers here on YouTube. Thanks for checking back in. With the coronavirus at the forefront of the world's concerns, worries, and motivations, one thing is for certain, right? No matter who you are, no matter where you live, no matter what race, gender, religion, political affiliation, no matter if you're a fan of baseball or football, you are being affected by this crisis. And what a wonderful reminder it is at how interconnected we all are on this planet floating around the sun. So, during this time of being stuck and confined in your own house, either alone, if so I commend you, or stuck with a particular group that I hope you're at least able to tolerate, the opportunity is being given to us to go deeply inward and to deeply contemplate the lessons that are being made available to us through this pandemic. And so I hereby acknowledge that these thoughts and opinions stated in this video are simply that, and it's up to you whether or not you want to agree with them. And with that being said, let's get into it. But before we get started, guys, if you would please do me a quick solid and click that subscribe button right down below. Be sure to turn on your notifications. Comment down below. Let's get into a conversation. Let me know your thoughts. All right, so first and foremost, the lesson that's being made most clear to me is just how quickly we're able to witness things change at the snap of a finger. Along with that, we're witnessing just how fragile the systems we have in place really can be. I mean, with the comfort and security that we have in our economy, in our government, in our school systems, I mean, even just our communication. Can you imagine if we didn't have social media anymore? If social media suddenly went poof, gone, what would we do? So contemplating this really shows us just how much we take for granted these systems that we typically rely on. And so a well-known principle of the Buddhist philosophy is the concept of non-attachment. And for those unfamiliar with this, non-attachment has to do with the practice of letting go of the things that we are either consciously or subconsciously attached to. If you look around, you're easily able to see all of the things in your own life that you are attached to. Aside from essentials like food, water, and shelter, we have so many other things that we consider to be essential, like our devices, cell phones, our social media platforms, the things that we associate with so heavily. Along with that, common addictions like alcohol and weed, which, don't get me wrong, we're stuck in a pandemic, so I don't blame anybody for wanting to distract themselves. But it's just important to see how apparent it is. I think what's mostly important to notice is the fact that over the past few weeks, whether you've noticed it or not, you've been forced to let go of a lot of attachments as it is already. So for example, before all this went down, I was working 2 jobs that were in place of the service industry. So working 2 jobs, I was working about 45 to 50 hours a week, and I relied heavily on tips, making tips. That was half, if not more than half, of my paychecks. And you could say that from time to time, I caught myself being somewhat of a workaholic at times. And so now me and half of the people I know are being forced to say goodbye to the usual routines we had in place for bringing food to the table. But the thing is that's okay, right? Our lives are on hold. We're being forced to sit back, let go of our usual routines. And along with that, the opportunity is here to completely reframe how we want to live our lives. That change is available to us right now. We're able to take the time to fully contemplate how we want to go about serving ourselves and our community and society at large. Ask yourself, how do you want to live your life once this all blows over? What do you want your life to look like? And so right now, unlike any other time, you have the time to become completely focused and inspired. And so something I was also thinking about the other day is how a lot of people I know, I would say the general population, typically complains about having to go to work each and every day. If you're not complaining about it every day, you're at least finding yourself being a little bit cynical about your usual routine. You know, your 9 to 5, waking up in the morning, going to work, coming home, winding down just to go to bed and do it all over again. Well, if you notice, a lot of people are commenting on the fact that they're already over the forced vacation that we're having. They're already over the fact that we have to stay inside and not go to work. So what does this teach us? This teaches us that routine, things that we get used to that are repetitive, we have a nature of getting over them quickly, right? So going to work each and every day, doing the same thing, even though we're making money, it gets old quite quick. Shifted to now, being forced to stay home, day in, day out, doing the same things over and over again, though one of the lessons that I hope you are taking away from this is to change up your routine and do different things each day. We're getting over this too. There's always going to be restlessness and annoyance in repetitive routine, meaning that it is important to become mindful of this and see that no matter what routine you find yourself in, there's always going to be that voice in the head that you have to become mindful of and really tame so that it doesn't take over your productivity, your creativity, and really your attitude. Now, if you watched my last video, we covered the topic of fear and how it can be overcome during uncertain times like these. Well, not only has fear taken up a lot of people's minds recently, but also anger and impatience. We're seeing that the media has us all riled up and wishing that we were anywhere but now. But what we're really being taught here is that none of us have any control over what happens. And so yes, we can practice social distancing to flatten the curve. We can sanitize everything in sight. But at the end of the day, we can only really hope for the best, that everybody follows protocol. But all of this really only serves our immediate vicinity and at best influences others to do the same. But what we really need right now is to let go of our expected outcomes. Going back to what we were talking about with non-attachment, your best bet in times like these is to completely disregard your idea for what the future looks like and just watch it pan out. Go with the flow and become curious about how it's going to turn out rather than think you know and be completely mortified with your ideas of how the future is going to look. So, I mean, do you think that the Great Depression could have been avoided? Do you think that World War II could have been avoided? I mean, sure, but they happened nonetheless. And because of our perseverance, our bravery, and our resilience, we as human beings were able to overcome these pivotal moments in history. And some might argue that the world is even a better place because of it all. And so it's moments like these that force us to come together and bear witness to life unfolding naturally and spontaneously as it does. And that practice alone is what holds wisdom in store for all of us. Now, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, but I'm also a firm believer that everything has its opposites. Chaos has its peace, conflict has its resolutions. Birth always reaches death, and round the cycle goes. And now we're not always able to see these opposites play out. I mean, I would say most of them happen outside of our awareness. And so what's the most important thing that this reminds us of? Well, by becoming completely conscious of our day-to-day awareness and by being brutally honest and realistic with ourselves, we're more able to see just what troubled times like these are trying to teach us. And remember, because I can't stress this enough, that life isn't necessarily meant to always be completely flat-grounded and smooth. Life is supposed to have its ups and downs, right? I mean, this might be something that is extreme compared to any other crisis that we've experienced before, but as a beach ball is pushed down underwater, it can't be pushed down forever. It's got to bounce up outside of the water. So consider yourself in this situation being pushed down underwater as a beach ball. By the way, I didn't create this analogy. I heard it from somebody else. Look forward to that moment when you as a beach ball gets to bounce out of the water and spread your wings. To use another analogy, you are the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. You as a caterpillar coming into the cocoon of COVID-19 will eventually flap your wings and move on to another chapter of your life that will hopefully be less turbulent than this one. But while we are stuck in this time, use it as an opportunity to learn some lessons. So I encourage all of you to, again, go inward, meditate on your thoughts, and be creative in this time. Take care of yourself, eat healthy, exercise, create and discover new passions, and be kind to yourself above all, and don't leave yourself in the dark. And so with that all being said, I hope that gave you guys some things to think about over the next couple weeks. I'll be back at you with another video soon, and again, let's get into a conversation. Let me know your comments down below. Be sure to click that subscribe button, and much love.